I buy diesel every Thursday. I sell them to one Mrs. Rebecca. She sells it to our customers. I don't really know. I don't want to know about them, but I know she sells them to our customers. It is fresh food, but has a larger profit than selling the fish.
Strange, watching these film fragments. It's like looking through binoculars, observing people on a far-off beach, running around in circles, fixated on the small area of sand under their feet, as a tsunami races towards the shore.
A rickety girl.
Here's Alvin. He's just taken early retirement after 30 years on an oil industry salary and is planning to spend his later years outside enjoying nature.
Oh, certainly I'm an ecologist and an environmentalist. I really don't have a problem squaring that, working for an oil company that I feel has done a pretty good job in being environmentally friendly.
When I started working in the oil industry in about the mid-70s, it was a clear path for me as a scientist coming out of college. And I didn't know the detail of what goes on in the industry, the goods and the bad. But indeed, every industry has that, the goods and the bad. Would I do it again? Knowing what I know now, of course I would do it again. I mean, you need to work. You need to do something.
Message 1. The airfield wind farm goes ahead. Local people are going to sabotage it. It will be destroyed. It will not provide electricity into the grid. Okay? And direct action will prevent it. Okay? So that's the end of that, isn't it? The Institute of Action will make sure that it is completely destroyed.
The worst example I've had is an old lady came up to me in a public exhibition and gave me a cutting from a newspaper with a picture of a guy being shot.
Local anti-campaigns are one of the key factors stopping about 80% of the proposed wind energy projects in Britain. Had they all been built, 10% of our electricity would have been non-polluting.
And how the heck are we meant to persuade people like India and China that they should develop in a more sustainable way when we're not prepared to even accept, you know, the old wind farm in the landscape? So how's it going?
All right, yes.
Not too much trouble?
Not really, no. Nobody's punched me up yet anyway.
Good.
Piers has come back to Ernie's farm with a plan to make the turbines less visible, trying to kick-start the planning process that the anti-campaign has now held up for 18 months.
Another 18 months of climate change, another 18 months where I've been able to do nothing about it. Yeah, I feel really, really off with it. I mean, it's, you know, you must be feeling the same as me. It's just, I mean, how long have we got?
Piers' compromise reduces the number of turbines from 15 down to 9.
This is still the equivalent electrical power for 11,000 homes.
Yeah.
So it's there's still a lot of power. Exactly the opposite is happening to the very thing that needs to happen. These things need to be speeded up, and actually they're getting slowed down. Plenty of politicians are talking about it, but when it comes down to it, it's just not happening. It's just not happening, folks.
Governments will only go as far as the population demands, and that means mass protest on an unprecedented scale. Direct action like this is essential if you're going to turn an issue round in a short period of time. We've found that many, many times in the past, from the suffragettes onwards. the very fact that the crisis is taking place within our generation, it's happening right now, means that we are tremendously powerful people. So this position of despair and I can't do anything and there's no point is completely illogical. It's exactly the opposite.
À un moment, ils ont pensé aussi doubler le tunnel. Donc à ce moment-là, les chamoniards se sont enfin réveillés. Donc il y a eu une association de dire non aux camions, donc il y a eu moins de transport inutile. Il y a toute une équipe qui se bat vraiment, mais on n'est pas assez nombreux. Et je ne sais pas si on aura autant de force pour faire reculer ce lobby routier, quoi. Les gouvernements, à l'Europe et tout ça, c'est des personnes intelligentes. Mais il faut aussi qu'elles fassent du travail et qu'elles ne pensent pas qu'à la réélection.
There's no shortage of grey matter in this species. We can do some amazing things. But I don't think we've been very smart about how we use our resources, how we quite literally burn up something as beautiful and useful as oil. Literally burn it up. That's it. It's gone. It's done.
I think most people were becoming disenchanted by this point. We'd stopped believing that this was the golden era of human civilization and started questioning our collective values.
All I can hope is incredible disasters like Katrina and the horrible wars and whatnot that are going on around the world will snap us out of it. I'd like to see us heading in the right direction for the good of mankind.
I still believe chasing dreams.
Oh, you got me. Jack and Rocks. Perfect. You know what I like.
I had my share. I drank my fill. And even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still.
Before this disaster, I had a lot of stuff. I was a classic consumer. 2 years later, I've learned a lot about happiness and the pursuit thereof.
So here's to life and every joy.
The happiness is not in the latest gadget, the latest little electric toothbrush or something like that. All of that stuff is just not. It's just not the stuff of life. Not for me anymore.
Here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you.
Come on, stupid computer.
Climate scientists can estimate how much of the remaining fossil fuels we can safely burn. This amount is called the global cap. Under this proposal, the world's governments would make a binding international agreement detailing how to distribute the global cap. The earlier the start date, the greater the chance of not triggering runaway climate change. The total global emissions for the first year, say 2012, will be set at their current level. Every year following they'd shrink until, by about 2065, they're almost zero. Initially, each country would be allocated an emissions quota according to how much they currently consume. But this would change over time. America would slash its emissions 90% from its current over-consuming position. Europe too would decrease massively, as would China. But India and Africa would increase until, by about 2025, each human being on the planet would have equal rights to the Earth's resources. Equity is the only option morally, and also practically, as